today we are going to be talking to Bill Feilds about securing your buyer agency and making sure you are going to get paid when you're working with your buyers. Bill Feilds is a real estate coach and a expert trainer. I want to welcome him, bring him in. Welcome, Bill.
Hi, Joe. Happy to be here.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks for coming on. So excited to have you on the show. We've been knowing each other for almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
I'm close to it. And I've had the privilege of being one of your coachees, one of the people that you help coach. And your expertise is super important. It's a super hot topic and very important to agents who are working with buyers. We're all aware, obviously, that there's been a massive, hopefully you're aware, there's a massive lawsuit that was settled and is now back in the courts, will be back in the courts, trying to upend it. A lot of stuff went sideways in the court proceedings as they understand it, yet we're going to be changing, the world's changing on us. And the companies are changing the way they compensate the buyers, and we need to talk about it. So how are you advising your clients, your agent clients, to work with buyers and securing that they are going to be able to get paid?
Well, first off, let's talk about the reality of the real estate world we all find ourselves in. Regardless of what happens with the big NAR suit, where they sell it, they settle it, they appeal it, they win on appeal. There are so many copycat lawsuits going on around the country now that everybody is impacted. And the reality of it is, it's very difficult to see this turning in a way that doesn't change the entire way that real estate is done. I mean, I just don't see them now pulling back from where we are. So
we're actually already seeing some companies not offering buyer agency and pulling out of MLSs, correct?
Yes. I mean, we're adverse to change. We're an industry that we only change when change is forced upon us. And so, this is what's happening. So like it or not, well, the question was, what am I doing to help all the people in my coaching program and all the people I speak with? And the reality of it is, Joe, is that what I tell them first off is you should celebrate this as an opportunity, right? It's an opportunity for you to differentiate yourself. Because what a lot of agents, their strategy has been, I'm going to stick my head in the sand because this, I'm not going to change anything about the way I'm doing business. For me as a real estate agent, I'd be promoting it. I'd be promoting that I have buyer agency, that I have a relationship and I represent you as a buyer. So the first thing I tell all agents is the key to me is remembering why we're in the real estate business. We're here to be of service, right? I'm not here to make a commission. I'm here to be of service to somebody. And so when I work with a buyer, to me, it's crucial that I maintain transparency, right? So I start with a buyer consultation, which I think all agents need to do as a general course of business. You have a seller and you sit down with a seller and you consult with the seller. What are your needs? Why are you selling? How soon do you want to sell? Where are you moving to? All those questions. And then we put together a plan. But with the buyers, it seems to be, hello, yes, let me rush over and show you something and try to make a sale. We should stop all that and we should revert to a buyer consultation. So a buyer calls me, I want to see this property. Great, I'll be happy to show it to you. But before we do that, we need to sit down so that I can figure out the best way to help you. And then what we do is we do a buyer consultation. We walk through the steps. What are your needs? What are your wants? What is your ability to pay? All of the things. And of course, then the buyer agency agreement, which I get feedback, Joe, from agents all the time. They say, oh, people will never sign that. Well, if you put a piece of paper in front of me that says, this is a piece of paper that says I'm going to get paid a commission no matter if I do the job or not, of course, I'm not going to sign that, right? So part of the reality of getting a buyer to sign it is explaining to them what it is you're asking them to sign and how it benefits them as a buyer. So, the question comes up, does this require me to pay you as my agent? The answer is yes. I mean, in a buyer broker agreement, it says in there clearly that you owe me a commission. Now, the other part, and this is why, again, it's important for us to have a buyer consultation, because it allows me to sit down with a buyer and explain to them, although it says that in this buyer agreement, in most cases in real estate and going forward, I still believe this to be the same. If there is a commission that is offered by a seller to the buyer agent, that can be paid in lieu of you paying. And so generally speaking, the houses that I'll be showing you will offer you that as an opportunity. But again, this is the reality, and you do have to explain to a buyer, yes, this is what it says. It says this, and this is how we work with that. Because some agents are afraid to say that, like they don't want to say, yes, it says I'm going to get paid. I mean, I'm going to say to you, this is an agreement that authorizes me to go to work for you to find the type of property that you're looking for in the price range that you're comfortable with in an area that you want to live. And it's instructing me to negotiate on your behalf when we find that property and help you work with the vendors, the lenders, the appraisers, and all the other support people that are necessary to get your transaction closed. That's what this agreement says. And then it does spell out how I get compensated for that, right? But again, I'm sorry, Joe.
That coming out though, what I'd like you to back up, or maybe this is the order in which it would happen. When there's a consultation, would it not be best advised for the agent to be actually explaining their value and what that is?
Yes.
I found that the value used to be, hey, I'll drive you around and you don't have to pay anything.
No.
That used to be the value prop.
Well, if that's unfortunately what a real estate agent sees their value. As I said, you're absolutely right. When we have the buyer consultation, I want to explain to them what my role as your agent is, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sit down, we're going to talk about I sit down with a buyer and I create two lists, what you want and what you need, right? So every property I'm going to show you will have everything on your must-have list and as many things on your like-to-have list as possible. Again, in an area where you want to live in a price range you can afford, right? And so I will go over all those things. Are schools important to you? You know, what things are important to you as a purchaser of a new home? Distance to your family, distance to your job, you know, schools, all those kind of things are things that we would talk about before we would get into asking them to authorize a buyer agreement. Absolutely. Yeah, again, it's back to the service. I'm here to serve. How can I serve you? But see, my service is not, you know, I'm going to put you in the car and drive you around until you go, I'll take the pretty pink one, right? And then I'll write that up and I'll submit it and I'll get a big fat commission check. That's not of service, right? Service is sitting down and explaining how I'm going to help you and why I get paid for helping you, what services I'm going to provide. So again, I think it's an opportunity for agents to market themselves. You know,
then when there is no compensation being,
well, what's the complication? The buyer's going to have to pay me.
Okay, where they get
here's where the complication will come in. Finance.
Where's the money?
So VA will not allow commission to be paid under any circumstances. FHA, we believe they're going to change that. Right now, FHA, a seller can contribute to the commission of another agent, right? They can do that under an FHA loan. Under a VA loan, you cannot. So the first problem, you're absolutely right, is where will some of this compensation come from when it's not going to be paid through the other traditional way that we were accustomed to coming from the seller? The buyer, ultimately, the buyer has always been responsible because the buyer's buying the house and he's taking that seller's going to take part of that money and pay it in commission. So the buyer's still paying the commission. It's just the technicalities of how we're going to do it. And the industry's not there yet.
Yeah.
That's the whole point about all these lawsuits and everything. The stuff that has to be settled are RESPA. You know, how is the mortgage process going to be handled? How is FHA VA going to allow as far as financing the commission? And how are lenders, generally speaking, is a lender going to allow me to finance that commission on top of? So the property appraises at $215,000, but I owe my buyer agent $8,000. So is that then? Am I going to be able to get that loan for $223,000 to pay for the property? And don't know yet. We don't know yet. These are part of the things that we're waiting to see.
So you had mentioned also that the listing agents hopefully don't stop offering compensation, or at least they have that conversation deep enough with their clients that they understand all that. What are you coaching your agents on? How to approach that with their sellers?
Yeah, I'm coaching them to not to make changes unless it's necessary, right? I mean, if your seller is okay with offering a 6% commission, then take a 6% commission and offer a buyer agent a share of that. Now, I will say in a lot of markets, if they're taking a 6, they're giving 2.5 and keeping 3.5, because the listing agents are spending a lot more money in getting listings and servicing them and marketing and things like that.
Yeah, that's all. I had this conversation with someone the other day, and she felt that she's getting cheated. Yet we don't know on the buyer side. We don't know what that listing agent offered. They could have painted the walls. They could have bought furniture. They could have done a lot for that.
That's correct.
Commission. It truly has nothing to do with the buyer agent.
Correct.
That's between the seller. So that story's got to go away. We don't know what they're offering.
Yeah, and again, I don't know what that buyer might be paying that agent, right? So I'm going to give you 2.5, but you might be getting another 1.5 from your buyer.
Yeah.
So you're getting more than I'm going to get. You're going to end up with 4. I'm going to end up with 3.5.
Now let's talk on that. I know a lot of agents with a listing working with sellers, they may have a menu of options and having a different percentage of the sale for whatever offerings they have. It's like the multi-tiered options.
Yeah, and so that came about. I'm sorry, Joe. That came about because agents were having difficulty with commission cutting.
Yes.
So what they decided to do instead of taking a commission cut was they decided to start offering a menu of service. So, Mr. Seller, I could certainly do it for 5%, but if we do it for 5%, these are the things we're going to have to take out of the package, right? So if you really want to sell for the most money, which you do, don't you? Of course you do. Then I suggest that you want the video marketing and you want the social media package, and so it's 5, 6, and 7. So we go the opposite way now, right?
Now, can we flip that same concept for buyers?
Yes, of course. I mean, that's why the adage has always been commission is negotiable, and it's true. Contrary to what the lawsuit tries to make people believe, it's always been negotiable. Always. Still is. Always will be.
Now, what are the rules around when a listing's out there and there is no compensation and your buyer is willing to pay, they don't have the money? Is there a vehicle or a way where the buyer agent can roll that money into the sale somehow?
Well, yeah, right now I would say it would depend entirely on how that property is being financed. If it's a cash buyer, absolutely. You can tack in anything when it's a cash buyer. But if it's financing, then financing becomes a problem because then they determine what they will and will not finance. It's just like repairs, right? You got a house that needs fixing up, and so you go to get a mortgage and you go, I want the mortgage and I want it to include the money that I'm going to spend on fixing this property up. Well, there are mortgages you can do, like a 203K, right? That's an FHA mortgage that will allow you, I believe, to build the cost of repairs into that mortgage. So I believe this will be something that ultimately will happen. But again, that's why I said we're not there yet.
Right.
Everybody needs to be working on this issue. Focus on taking listings. Don't worry about working with buyers. Try to get as many listings as you can, because if you get the listings, the buyers will find you. You won't have to worry about finding them.
Absolutely. I put the analogy, it's you want to own the store with the listings, or do you want to be a buyer agent or a personal shopper, drag people around from store to store? You want to own the store.
Right.
Right. So markets are different from all around the country. What are some of the things that, well, let me ask this. Is the marketing different?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, it not only is it different, real estate is a local business, right? So if I'm an agent selling real estate in a blue collar medium price, I think the medium price in the country now is $300,000, right? For a certain type of buyer. And your marketing is geared towards relating to those people on that level. If I'm in a luxury home market, then it's a slightly different type of buyer, slightly different kind of seller, and my marketing will reflect that. But conceptually, where the business is coming from and things like that, not really that different from market to market.
Right. I mean, farming's farming, right?
Right. Farming, SOI is SOI. The senior market is the senior market, which is huge, right? That's where the future is going to be, all of us getting older, right? So there's a lot of opportunity there.
So you're coaching agents from around the country.
I do.
What are the top 3 listing tactics that you see that are universal?
Okay, so my top producer, who made $1.25 million this year, Mr. Craig Duran from Panama City Beach, Florida. His top 3 things are farming, right? So we have a very, very robust farming program, which he does entirely through direct mail, right? It's not a go knock on the door. It's more of a, sit back and analyze the numbers. We focus a lot on turnover factor. What is the turnover in a neighborhood? And at the end of each year, we analyze each neighborhood and we go, okay, we're going to stay in this one, or we're going to get out. And part of the key, Joe, is that a lot of agents, they get out too soon. They quit. They'll try a neighborhood for 11 months and then they'll go, this is not working. Then they'll drop out right before it was getting ready to happen for them. So Craig is one of those guys that he never quits. I mean, he's just, he's like, he gets his teeth into it. So his number 1 source of business would be farming. Number 2 would be his sphere of influence. And number 3 would be expired listings. So that's his source of business.
Now, going back to mailing.
Yeah.
Every time I mention that, agents say it doesn't work.
Of course it works. Since COVID, Well, all you have to do is look at the National Association of Realtors surveys of where agent business is coming from. Direct mail has moved its way back to the top of the list. Once upon a time, it used to be the top of the list. Social media is not even in the top 3. So all these agents that are worried about, oh, I got to figure out what I can post, who's going to post, who can help me post. That's not where the business is. No, not. No, direct mail is working. And since COVID, it really changed, because when COVID came, what happened was people were stuck at home. And so the mail was great. They loved to get their mail, right? They looked at their mail. They really paid attention to what they were getting. So the psyche of our consumer has changed. And that's one of the reasons that mail is working. But I mean, it's working. And I have agents all over in every market that can testify to that.
And I'm wondering if it stopped working because people stopped doing it. And now
came back in. First off, what we should preface that always by preface it, Joe, always is, what are you mailing? If you're mailing crap, it ain't going to work. So if you're mailing, Easter greetings and happy Thanksgiving and reminders to turn back your clock, don't be surprised that you're not getting any business, right? Because that doesn't. So what does work is market updates. The people want to know what's going on in my neighborhood. Tell me about the most recent sale. So for instance, just sold, still work. Just listed, still work. Market update, still work, right? Farming, neighborhoods, work.
So, I'd like to dig into that a little bit more. On the just solds and the just listeds, those need to tell a better story from what I'm looking at. The ones I see just sold in 5 days. This is going back when things were hot. That didn't mean anything to anybody because everything was selling in 5 days.
That's correct.
So it was not the.
What they want to know is, did you sell it over listed price? Did you sell it over the market? Did you beat the last sale in the neighborhood by a certain percentage? That's the kind of stuff you want in your just sold. Not I just sold it. Like you said, who cares? You just sold it. But I got your neighbors $25,000 more than anybody else could get, right?
And learn what's the other thing. It's not always a call to action.
Right.
Learn how I did this. Being specific and actually talking about the tactics that they use. That's different than what everybody
have a very specific marketing campaign that people. So we talked about my top producer, Craig Durant. He has a very specific marketing campaign that one of his big things is video marketing, right? He's big in video. And so that's built into the differentiation, and is just sold reflect on that. So he'll do it just sold, and it'll say, not only did it just sold, but because we use video marketing, they had, 10% more than any other sale in the neighborhood. They had 25% greater showing, so we focus on what made that sale special, not just the fact that we sold it, but what did we do different than all the other people in the neighborhood?
Yeah, and I've seen his work, some of what he's done. And when you say he's doing direct mailing, he's layering that up with these videos. He's doing more than just that.
You guys,
it's not.
First off, he has a good coach, right? So he's getting coached on it, and we all know that you can't do one thing and expect these phenomenal results, right? When I started working with this guy 10 years ago, his top sale was 250,000, or his average sale was 250,000. His average sale this year was 760, right? And so that was a concentrated plan that we had, right? Of focusing on neighborhoods that were growing, that were higher priced, that generated a higher commission dollar, right? I mean, these were all part of a plan. It wasn't just, God, the guy got lucky and now he's doing all this business. No, it was a plan, a conscious plan of here's what we want to do. That's why farming is important, because it allowed him to select what neighborhoods would allow him to move up in his sales price, right? So if you're working buyers and a buyer can only afford a $250,000 home, you're going to work $250,000 homes. That's your market. But if you're farming, you can pick a neighborhood that's $1 million or 750 or 500, right? And then that becomes. I'm sorry, I had a humming noise there. Sorry, did you hear that? Sorry, everybody. That was a brain fart. Right? So yeah, I'm going to say this too about 2024. It's going to be a good real estate year. It's going to be a really, really good real estate year. But you're going to have to work in order to earn it. Because the competition will be there. There'll be lots of agents out there trying to make a living in real estate, just like always.
We keep hearing all these agents going to drop out. They're still pouring in.
Yeah, we're not seeing it anywhere. We're just not. We're seeing lower production numbers, but we're not seeing the dropout rate, right? I know I see all the predictions too. I'd like to get rid of 1 million agents, to be honest with you. I wish they would drop out. I'd like to push them out. Just think how many more sales all of you guys could do if you had 1 million less agents around.
All the ones that know what they're doing.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you know how I can tell? By who does the work.
Yeah, showing up is important.
The ones that are willing to do the work and put in the effort are the ones that are going to be successful. And the ones that just want to talk about it, the ones that are always getting ready to get ready, no. No, doesn't work that way.
So you mentioned being a coach, having a coach. Who should have a coach in this business?
Everybody. I mean, I had one, you had, I mean, anybody who's serious about wanting, I mean, just think about it. If you're a professional athlete and you want to get to where you want to be as a professional athlete, Olympics, pro basketball, football, golf, Tiger Woods had a coach, still has a swing coach, right? I mean, the tennis players, they all have coach. And any real estate agent, no matter where you are in your real estate business, I promise you there's something that we can do to help. Absolutely positive. I think that's one of the greatest frustrations I have is the number of people in real estate that are not doing as well as they possibly could, right? Because there's just so much opportunity.
Yeah. Let's ask. So aside from calling you directly, your number and email right there.
Yeah, or you can just Bill at Bill Feilds. Just go to billfeilds.com.
Yeah, billfeilds.com. That works too.
Check me out.
So what should an agent look for from a coach? What do they want from a coach?
Well, I think what you want is individual attention, right? I think you want a coaching program that's developed for where you are and where you're trying to go. I do not think you should have a cookie cutter approach to coaching. I think, again, it's one of my pet peeves about the coaching programs that I see that are out there is they want every agent to fit into a certain cookie cutter, and it doesn't work that way. Every one of my agents, we coach differently because they are all different, right? Their needs are different. Their experiences are different. What they bring to real estate is different, and where they want to go with the real estate business is different. So that's what I would say. Try to find somebody that can adapt a coaching program for you.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's not one size fits all.
Just the opposite. It's anything but one size fits all. That's what coaching, I mean, that's the difference, right? Training. We all go and we sit in a training program, right? And we all learn the same stuff, and then we're all supposed to go out and apply it. That's why a lot of people are failing in real estate, because we're all being taught generally the same thing. Coaching allows you to take your own mindset and what you're willing to do. So back to Craig Duran has never been somebody that wants to prospect on the telephone, right? Not his thing. So I don't get him in our session every week and go, come on, Craig, you need to make 10 calls. That's not the way we work, right? We crafted something based on what his comfort zones were and built a very successful business based around what he was trying to do, right? And still had to raise his kids.
You did mention that he does expireds. Is that not through cold calling?
Yeah, no, it's a direct mail campaign also on the expireds.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Again, that's the benefit of having a good coach, because I have all that, in the can ready for them to drop in and put to work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
The other thing, they need to work with a guy like you. I mean, that's the other part, is that there are a lot of companies out there that don't have a guy like you that cares about the agent. People that might not know you, right? I know you care about the agents. It's why you do the Real Joe show, right? You didn't say to me, come on here today and just blow smoke. You said, come on today and try to share some stuff that would be helpful, right? We want the people to come away with something valuable. And that's the kind of guy you are. And so they need that, right? So, I mean, that's a reality too. A lot of people, that's why they need a coach, because they don't have a guy like you. So either get a guy like me or get a guy like Joe, one or the other.
Fortunately, in my role, I am coaching with agents, so I get to do both, which is
That's
great.
what I said. They either need a guy like me or a guy like you, but they need one of us.
Yeah. All right, Bill. That's fantastic. Any last words of wisdom you want to?
I would say, like I said earlier, work hard. Work smart. Use ChatGPT and all the AI that's out there for you, but still put in the work. Have a schedule. Have a plan. Everybody hopes to have a better year this year, but only 19% of the agents are going to have a better year. And that 19% are the agents that have a plan. Hoping doesn't get you there. You got to have a plan. So that's what I would close with. And be positive every single day. Wake up every single day and attack your opportunity. Think to myself, what am I going to do today that meets somebody that has a need for the service I provide? And then go out in your community every single day.
Good stuff. Good words. Bill, thanks so much for coming on.
It's been my pleasure. I hope everybody got something out of it. Like I said, reach out to me, Bill at billfeilds.com. I'd be happy to give you a free analysis, spend a little time on your own business, and we could talk about how I might help.